All right. Okay. So what we're going to do is we're going to move it from the development server to this guy. Okay. So before you do that, so it's always a good idea to have a backup of the site because there's a chance that you can mess it up. Um, the best way to do that is there's two backups that need to be made. One is the database backup, and so you can go to BoomLogic PHP My Admin. I'll give you this login. Let me see if I can share this with you right now. PHP My Admin. Yeah. You gotta be careful with this one because in the wrong hands they'll just ruin everything. Alright, so you go. Alright, so he will, each one has its own database. So this guy is Maxim 1, that's the one, okay? Click on it, let's see, export it, okay? What we want to do is we want to do a quick export to SQL format, okay? Hit go, it saves it right here. You just save the file itself. Okay. And this is what it looks like. It's a gigantic text file with all the stuff that is in the database. Okay. So you grab that and you move it to, and in the work stuff folder, you have that, right? Basically, it's on your E drive. This is a map. I'm actually just reaching your computer right now. It's still there, and I'll probably just leave it there. So, in the work stuff, I basically will create a folder for each company that I do work for, and then there's some old stuff that I don't deal with. I move in the old, so it doesn't crowd here. I have to probably do house cleaning soon, but anyway, if you don't find it here, it'll be here, but I doubt that you're going to need to dig in there. So this one would go under. This is a works. This one is under Works PR because this guy that I work with, his name is Lawrence. He brings me these jobs. His company is Works PR, so I basically go under him. So it goes Works PR, and then under Works PR, there's websites, and these are the websites that we've done together so far. So this guy is Maxim, so MaximRestaurant.com. Backup. Okay, in the backup, just create. Actually, what I want you to do is create a folder with today's date, starting with the year, 2016, 09, 07. Okay, maintain that format. Yeah. Four-digit year, two-digit month, two-digit thing, and just move it in there. That way we know. So that's one backup. You backed up the database. Now it's the file structure. Okay. That one you can do simply by dragging and dropping through a FileZilla. It's an FTP client, so in this case, we're going to connect to the root, which I have here. I already have a live session. So basically, what this guy looks like is this. Okay, the websites are under var. Let me just maximize this so I can see it better. Okay. So the websites are under var. They're under var. There's www, and you can see all the domains or the websites that are subdomains. Or some of these are actual domains because I'm hosting them. But most of them are subdomains. So this guy would be at Maxim, even though it says Maxim.com, it's actually Maxim. Because I can name this folder whatever I want. Doesn't matter. The web server doesn't care. It's just pointing to this public HTML folder inside it. That's what it cares about more. So under maxim.com, I have, and I named them all the same. It's just whatever they are .com, just for simplicity's sake. So maxim.com public HTML. This is the folder that you want to do. I mean, it's easier for me to do it, and that's another thing I want you to kind of learn. Google the top or Google like the basics of Linux. Here, I'll text it to you here. Yeah, I'll text it to you. Google and learn. Just not learn. You know what it is? It's not learn. Like a lot of times I'll forget the commands myself. It's just too many to remember. So I'll do a quick Google search. But I want you to kind of be comfortable with the Linux operating system and the command line interface. And it'll, just Google and learn the most useful Linux, Apache, web server administration commands. Okay, that's it. You can just Google exactly that. And just pick up, like the thing is, why I'm saying it helps a lot because, for example, public HTML folder, if I drag and drop it from here into that, folder I created back up here, right? And basically how I would like that to be is the database file, and then right in that same folder, I would drag this and drop the public HTML folder right here, okay? But if I do this the way it basically what it does, it downloads each file separately, so it takes forever. There's like thousands of files in here, folders and everything. So it's much easier to just open up an SSH to the server and then kind of zip this folder. So if I go to www, and I can see Maxim right there, maxim.com. And if I say zip, here we go again. What was it? Remember we tried to do this last time?
It was
say zip. And when you hit the command by itself, it'll give you a little help thing. So you go zip options, and in the options, recourse into directories, -r. So in Linux, when you kind of have to tell it. In Windows, if you say copy this folder and paste somewhere else, it's going to assume that you want that folder and everything in it. But here you kind of have to tell it that you want that, not only that folder, but everything in it. And that's the recursive command. Most of the things kind of have that and require it if you want it. Otherwise, it'll just take that folder. It's kind of ridiculous, but it is. So you say zip. In the options, you say I want it to be recursive, all the folders and subfolders, and then let's see, path. Okay, path. Okay, so you now you tell it what you want. So you say maxim.com, right? Yeah, maxim.com / public HTML. That's the one that I want, and I want it to. What is it? Date, and then the zip file, the actual zip file. So I want it to go and become under.com. I want it to be public HTML.zip file. Oh, nothing to do.
Try that. What's dash I?
Oh no, this is weird. Hold on. every time I do this, I end up having to Google it. Linux zip command. Okay. It's like the simplest thing. I don't know why it's every time zip. It's first you tell it what you want the zip file name to be, and then the stuff. So it's actually. So I'm just gonna put the dot zip here and take it out of here. Okay. And that's what it is. So first you tell it what the file name you want it to be, and then which directory you want it to, or what file you want it to zip. So here we go. So in this case, this completes in a few seconds. Boom, it's done. Yeah. Now all I have to do is download one file instead of like that entire gigantic thing. Yeah. So here, if I do refresh, here, publication. I guess I had one already, and I just created another one. Let's see, 9.7, so this is the new one. Okay.
Why is there
it's considerably bigger, huh? You know, this was created on August 16th, so this is an older copy of it.
Why does it need two then? You don't really.
You know, it's weird. I wonder if it no, it didn't rename it. That is weird. I guess by coincidence I had it already named as 2. Yeah, it's weird. Or there was a 1 and it overrode it. I'll probably believe, or it added to it. That's probably what happened. Okay, look, I'm just gonna get rid of this because I think what happened was there was already 1 that was approximately 245 megabytes, and it just added onto that one and it doubled in size. So,
I see.
So I'm just gonna get rid of. I wish I'd known I would have downloaded it first. You know what? Let's save this because this might come in handy for any reason. Most likely not, but just in case. 2016 or 816. 816. Okay. And apparently on that same date, I made some SQL backups too, which is handy. Yeah, right? Even this I'll take just in case. Alright, cool. So now that they're all there, I'm just going to delete them from here. No reason I should get rid of that guy too. Come back to this guy. And the cool thing here is when you hit up on the button, up arrow, it just goes through your recent commands. So you just don't have to retype it. So just do this and enter. It looks like matrix type crap. Done. Refresh. Boom, there it is. Let's get this guy. Yeah, C258. That's what it did. Okay. So while that finishes, actually let it finish. Okay, good. Let's get rid of that guy too. So now we have for safety keeping, you know, we have whatever we want to do now. We can break it or whatever. We always have that backup. So, so one thing that needs to happen now is you have to prepare the site for its ultimate. So right now, if you look at the URL, it's a different URL than what it's going to be in the future. So where you're moving it to. So if you're changing a domain or if you're moving it from one server to another, this is a process that you basically have to go through. Yeah. So we want it to end up in maximrestaurant.com. That's its final destination, and it's this. So first you have to go to WP admin. Okay. And I was already logged in, so I'm in. Under settings, in the general settings, you'll see the WordPress URL. It repeats twice. It's the same. Okay, so once I change it here, what it's going to do is going to go into the database and change almost all references to it. And I'll show you how you always still end up kind of having to do some cleanup work afterwards. Okay. First, I want to change this time zone, make sure we're on the state in the right one, which should be this. But there's another.
-8.
No, you know it's -7, and that's the thing. Yeah, because if you see the universal time is 0036, so it's basically midnight, right? Minus.
7, yeah. Okay, 7.
So, but I just kind of like to pick the actual city that's here. It's the same effect, but I'll do anyway here. So I got this, Los Angeles, and that's correct. After I update it actually. So and this is a good format. So let's do that. Okay, so local time is 1738. So we're good. All right. Good. So now that we're ready, now we're ready to change this. Once I change this, it's going to change. It's going to go in the database and change some major references to it. Once it does that, this is going to fail. After I say save change, it's going to try to load the page. It's going to fail because it's on the old URL, whereas its database is saying it's a different URL. So that conflict makes it fail. But that's okay because we have the original backed up. What we're going to do is after we successfully transfer, we're going to restore this if we want to keep a local copy for ourselves on the development server. It's a good idea because sometimes these things happen. So I like to keep it for about a year, and then afterwards I say, okay, so I'll just go and do some house cleaning and I delete all old stuff. So let's do it. Okay, so I'm going to change it to MaximRestaurant.com instead. Okay, MaximRestaurant.com. This I put mine when I'm doing testing, but ultimately I'm going to change it. But I'm not worried about that little stuff now. Make it more pretty. Okay. There we go. Save changes. Okay. All right. Because there is a WordPress installation at this domain, it took me to this domain automatically, and you see a page without an error. It's because there is another WordPress at this location already. So I'm at the admin login for that other page that we're trying to overwrite with this stuff. So that's why you get it. But usually you'll get an error message: 404 page not found, this and that and the other bit. Which is how you know that it's worked, whatever you did. So now we go back to the database, okay, and we do another export, okay, SQL. That's fine. But I'm going to change this name. I'm going to say, and something that makes sense, like destination or something. Okay, right. And I bring this and I put it right here just for me to have. So now we have the folded file structure and we have the database, right? So what we want to do is, so because we already have all the files there, I want to do a little experiment. Well, actually, I don't want to experiment. I just want to do this thing real fast and do it nice and sweet. So this is the other host. Now we're moving it from my server to the hosting package, the company that they had signed up with. Okay, this is the FTP because I already had it. I logged in. Whatever. This is that other server. So we got to move it into the server. Okay. Again, the file structure will most of the time is the same. With public hosted or shared hosting services, they don't give you their FTP folder structure will begin at this level most of the time. Actually, at this level, where you're just seeing public HTML. See public HTML, because that's well, the deeper you go in, they'll never give you access to those folders. But so the only difference is that when you launch it, you're gonna basically be close to where you already need to be. So you're going to public HTML, and this is where the website resides. Okay, so all these folders are in a zip file. I don't want to open it with 7-zip extract. And because I don't have SSH access to their server, that's another thing you don't get to share that. Well, you do some, but most likely no. Yeah. I don't have the luxury of just uploading the zip file to their server and then going and saying it's unzip. Okay, I don't have that. So I have to unzip it here and just do one of those one-by-one upload things, right? So I'm going to extract into a public HTML folder. Yeah, sure, why not?
That's going to take years. So long.
Yeah.
Big file.
You know what it is? Oh, cancel. Yeah, I'm unzipping it, and the file is actually on your computer. So this whole communication between back and forth is what makes it so slow. So for me, because I'm here and you're there, and you won't have to do this because for you it'd be local. But what I'm gonna do is I'm gonna copy this temporarily onto my desktop, and then do an unzip here. Okay. Extract to public HTML. Oh, it's a lot faster. How big it's going to be unzipped. Okay.
It is always a last like few seconds.
Yeah, I know.
It's like stutters.
Alright. So here it is. Okay, let's see it. 181. That's not bad. Okay. So now we got to upload this. You see this guy? Over to here. Okay. So they have a public HTML. What I'm going to do is, for now, I'm just going to rename this guy. Okay, old. And then I'm just going to create a directory and enter it. Public HTML of my own. Just in case I messed up, I want to go back to the old one. I can't. Okay. So public HTML. So now I gotta just basically dump all this stuff in here and wait for it to finish uploading. Okay. Okay. So while that's doing that, I have to create a database on their host and import the database from the file that I have created into that newly created database. Okay. They are with is it? I think I named it here correctly. Host Monster. Okay, so hostmonster.com. Okay. Control panel login. Alright, I had already saved, so I'm going to go ahead and log in. Okay. So, you know, all hosts have some kind of control panel that they give access to. They get to do stuff. This is no exception. So we find, and you have to kind of look around. Each one has a different layout. They call their things differently or whatever. It's got to basically find the place where you deal with databases. And it's pretty clear here that it says like databases. So I'm going to go in there. Good. So now we have this database that's driving what they have now, right? But we're going to create a new one. Okay, we're going to create a new database. We're going to call it. So it gives it this prefix. I don't have a choice. So I'm just going to call some WP1. I'm going to go WordPress 2 on this one. So, for simplicity's sake. Okay. Boom. Created. Thank you. So now that the database is created, we gotta give it some kind of an access. So you have to assign a user account to that database that will have access to it. Okay. So what we want to do is we want to create this user. Okay. Just saying. Sure, all right. I'm going to say always use this action. Apply to current queue. Thank you. Don't bother us. All right. So the best thing to do is to make the same user. So within the folder structure of WordPress, there's a WP config file which holds like database user information and all that stuff for the website to use. So here it defines what the database name is, what the database username is, and what the database user's password is. Okay, so we want to do the same thing here, so there's not much changes we have to do actually over there. So what we're going to do is we're going to say so current users, where is it? Create, add new user, right? So I'm going to say see. All right, so it doesn't allow us because it needs to have this prefix. I'm limited on characters here. So it seems like I named it WP user 1. I'm going to say WP. You know what? I'm just going to actually assign the same user. I'm just going to keep it simple. Because I remember I created this one in the image of this guy. Okay. So I most likely have kept the password, but just renamed the username to WP user. So I'm just going to try it. So the way you do that is you add a user to a database, right? So you say, okay, this is my user. I'm going to add it to this database now. Okay. I'm going to say add. It's going to say what privileges do you want this user to have with this database. I can say, well, this user can only do, show. Where is it? Like run a simple select command, or these are like database commands they have. So, but in these cases, you want this user to have a complete privileges to the site. The end user never sees this. It's what the website's engine uses to deal with its own database. So it needs all the privileges it can get. So you say make changes. Boom. So now that user has been assigned to that database as well. And now you see privileged user, whereas before it was blank. Now we have this guy in there, right? So now we have a database, we have a user, and what we want to do is we want to go to, and let me see if they have PHP My Admin. Usually they have and the PHP My Admin tool, which is the same thing that I have installed here on my server, is it's like a GUI interface to do with databases what you would otherwise be forced to do all command line, which is kind of a pain in the ass. So I don't want you to learn that. I haven't wasted my time trying to learn that. I mean, I know it, but again, I would have to like look up because I don't remember syntaxes. I know like the simple stuff without having to look up, but if you have access to this, it's so much easier. So most hosting companies will give you access to PHP-MyAdmin. Okay, PHP-MyAdmin will be part of cPanel usually. There are 2 or 3 major players in website hosting control panel management. Okay, cPanel is one of them. cPanel is like a very, very popular one. Most shared hosting packages that you sign up for, whatever, will give you access to cPanel. Okay, there's another one, I forget what the name is. There's 2 major ones, and then cPanel. this and one more are the only two that matter. The cPanel being a better one of them. Okay, so wherever you see cPanel, you know you're gonna go in there, and most likely you're gonna see PHPMyAdmin, which is kind of always bundled with it. So in the cPanel gives you all these control kind of points that you can that having to do with your website. Okay, hosting of your website. So what we're looking for is PHPMyAdmin. Okay, it usually is under. Where is it? Database. I'm just gonna Google it. Search it. PHP my. Here it is. I'll go there. Very similar looking to this. So this is our new database, right? I click on that. I say import. Okay. Choose my file, which is this guy, which is here. I'll just copy this path. Come back here. Get here real quick. So what I want to import is the destination SQL1 because that's the one with the correct URL information in it. So I choose that guy, and I say go. Most of these settings are you're okay with. They say go. Boom. So now this, click on this guy, and I have all these tables that got in, so on and so forth. How many tables here? It's weird. I can zoom in. No, I don't know. It's weird. It's not showing this here. Huh. Anyway, they're in it basically this time. So, and if you come here, there's WP options. This is like these are the two most important kind of values in the database, the URL. So now you see it's correct one. So now that's in there, and this is I'm assuming still going at it. Yeah. So now basically we're waiting for this to finish uploading. Once it's done, you simply, so right now, if I try to go to his website, it should be down. Restaurant.com. Yeah. Okay. So we'll wait for this to finish. Go ahead. Oh, dude, it's 5:54.
Yeah.
Oh, I'm so sorry,
No,
man.
no. I knew it was late, but
Oh, okay. Sorry,
But
I had
no, it's
no
fine.
idea. I'm thinking it's like 3:30.
no.
I'm so off, dude.
No, it's
Okay.
fine. Yeah.
I'm gonna stop this.
You know,